We are now in Desjardins chapter 7 on employee responsibility or employer's rights, and we are in aspect 2. Here we will discuss the narrow employee responsibility theory. We will discuss limits even to the narrow employee responsibility, and we are going to introduce the notion of professional responsibility. These are basically the notions of employee responsibility with which we are dealing, the narrow employee responsibility and the professional responsibility. The basic thought with which employee responsibility to the employer is established is this. Employer hires the employee to act on behalf of the interest of the employer. And that means that the employee has an employee duty to maximize profits for the employer. This is what the employee is paid to do. That is the core of the narrow theory of employee responsibility. And as you can see, it corresponds nicely with the standard economic model of social responsibility. But of course, the above principle cannot be without limitations. The employee cannot steal or murder or do anything else that is illegal and immoral, even if such actions would raise profits for the employer. And an employer cannot expect for the employee to do work unrelated to tasks, such as wash the employer's car. And an employer cannot be expected to do what is not normal. And an employee cannot be expected to do what is not normal for that position. For amount of times that are not normal and for pay that is not normal. What is normal would be established by the average of what is happening on the market and by government regulations. The usual job descriptions for that type of a position on the market, the usual wages and length of the workday. Looking at what's normal in the above way would set up a baseline beyond which we would be justified in thinking that an employee is being exploited. And all of this is still on the narrow theory of employee responsibility. It's narrow in the sense that it just thinks that the employee is hired by the employer to represent their economic interests. Right? Just that narrow. We can also say, as per chapter 5, that an employer's rights do not extend to violating the autonomy of employees by offering work under conditions that make impossible the rational autonomous choosing of how to live. That would be the Kantian point. Right, that's the thought about making the workday too exhausting for too little pay, such that employees are not really capable of making rational and informed decision after work due to exhaustion or because they have to go to another job. The above applies to all employees in general, but also in addition to that, there are also special considerations in the case of professional employees. And who are the professional employees? Well, we'll get to that in just a moment in the next aspect of this chapter.